my life at this stage has gone by so fast. I want to tell people, take life by the horns before it's gone, right? I think, what is the phrase? Choose your future before your future chooses you. Like you really have to make the most of life. Dust in the wind, we're gone in a flash.
Welcome to the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast.
Here we are. It is the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. My name is George Shantz. Scott Sunderwald here as always.
Hey, it's good to be here, George.
Scott Sunderwald. This podcast, I want to call it the podcast of the Northern Rockies. Is that like too, self-assuming?
I think it's perfect.
Okay.
You got to claim it, man.
I'm working on a website right now too, which actually I got to show you when we're done the show tonight. But tonight we're talking Radically Wild, your new book.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
How's
Surreal.
it feel?
It feels like I've given birth.
Yeah.
Like this, but the pregnancy was 10 years long.
Yeah.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it. This is my life story.
Feels good to get it out?
Yeah, a little bit terrifying. Like I think if I had written sort of a fictional book and people didn't like it, I could live with that, but it feels really vulnerable. This is like my life. So far, everybody's loved it, but the trolls are out there.
Oh, so they'll be coming for you.
They'll be coming.
100%.
They always do. But no, it feels really great. It's been quite a ride. Big learning experience.
True tales of adventure, wilderness survival, and hard lessons. How long, like you said, like 10 years? Was 10 years ago you're like, I'm going to start jotting down ideas sort of thing? Or
yeah, actually it was probably more like 12, but again, with a full-time job and a big family and community stuff, I'd chip away at it in the evenings and the odd weekend. And my weekends are pretty precious to me, so I'm like, do I sit down and write the book or do I go in the mountains? So that's why, a decade of work. And really, the original copy was probably 2 or 3 times as big, so I had to cut out tons of the stories, which was really painful.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did I really put the best ones in there? And if people really love it, I might have to do like an Unfinished Tales sequel on this thing. So
I got the book in the mail. I got the hardcover here. Got it in the mail the other day, so showing it to the kid. Pictures in the back. He was loving the pictures.
Cool.
He was trying to the field dressing a deer with the hand axe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, what's going on here?
Chunk of stone.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Worked amazing.
Scott's working on that. Your picture as a kid, you look exactly like your grandkid. Eh?
I know. Everybody says I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Germans have a saying, the Apfel fällt nicht weit vom Stamm. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I guess that's true. You kind of live on in your offspring.
Yeah.
I look at your kid, George, and he's a spitting image of you. So.
Oh, yeah. Good luck for him now.
Yeah, that's right. The ladies are just going to go crazy.
Exactly. I started reading the books. I'm a few chapters in. Is it like pretty chronological? Because the first couple are like
It's very chronological.
Okay.
When I sat down, I thought, do I do something really funky and kind of jump to modern day and then jump back and forth? I was like, nah. So it's a chronology memoir of my growing up and all the crazy places I lived, right?
It's crazy. Like your dad born in Germany.
Yeah.
Your mom born in Saskatchewan.
Provost, Alberta.
Or Provost. Yeah. And then she's over there on like a missionary sort of thing. Was that what was going on?
Yeah, they did missions work. So they worked with, back then they called them the Gypsies. I don't think that's politically correct anymore. I think they call them the Roma now.
Okay.
But people who were less privileged in society and helped them out and different church work. And so, she's from Alberta, Canada.
Yeah.
And my dad's from Germany. So people ask why I don't speak with the accent. Well, they call it the mother tongue for a reason. Whatever your mom speaks in the home, you're going to catch onto. But I do speak fluent German. And
did your dad speak English then too?
Yeah, and he's a linguist. He speaks like 8 languages. It's crazy.
Okay.
So he can kind of segue into any language you want.
It's funny when I was reading like just the first couple chapters here. You're talking about your childhood, and like you're 4 years old climbing the tallest tree in the area and stuff. I was just curious your views now of you being raised versus your kids and now your grandkids.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine my son being out on his own in the middle of nowhere all day and then come home at the end of the day, you know? Like, did the world change that much? Do we have a different philosophy now, or were you just lucky, I guess?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, because I do think that's a sub-theme running throughout this book, is how free childhood was. Now, for people who are listening who don't know me, born and raised in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
it was different back then, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was basically 70s, 80s was be good, be back for supper, don't get into any trouble. That was basically it.
Yeah.
And kids kind of were free range, feral kids. We got in a lot of trouble, but as long as we didn't die or burn anything down, it was all pretty decent. And maybe that was too extreme, but I see the other end of the spectrum nowadays. We talk about bubble wrapped kids.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And helicopter parents, and I see now with kids, they don't do anything unless they're programmed to do so. So in other words, soccer practice, swimming lessons, piano lessons, play date with Johnny at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Well, that would have been completely insane for us.
Yeah.
Like, we were literally, Mom, I'm out the door, got my rubber boots and my pocket knife and my bow and arrow, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
All day, and I'm back for supper, right? And that's how these adventures happen.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
I'm sure it gets into this in the book, but when you were raising kids, so then was it similar?
It was, actually, which is a big reason why I moved to the Northern Rockies.
Okay.
So we had 6 kids. Don't know how that happened. Still can't figure that out. But and it was like, I don't want to raise these kids unless they're back on the forest. So that's why we moved here. And our poor realtor, I told her, I need a house that backs on the forest. She's like, but there's all these other beautiful homes. I'm like, no, it has to back on the forest. So we had wilderness out the back door for the kids and town out the front. And my kids really grew up pretty crazy too, like hunting mushrooms and hiking around with the big Malamute dog in bear country, and going to Maxwell Lake and building forts and doing all the things kids can and should do. But based on your upbringing, George, it sounds like you had quite a free childhood too, even though you're a different generation.
Yeah, free childhood, but I also grew up on a farm in a quarter section sort of thing. So it was like you could go out anywhere into the bush, but it was never, I mean, I guess we're kind of in the same then. So you're not you're backing into the forest. There was never a time where my parents were like, oh, you're going to be in trouble in the field. It's like you go to play in the field is fine. But there was never a time where it'd be like, you're in town, you just go play in town sort of thing.
Yeah. So what did you spend your time with? Shooting pellet guns and building forts, driving dirt bike? What was your childhood like?
A lot of dirt biking. I remember getting home from school, especially we had a lake on our property.
Oh, a real lake?
Yeah. It was
or a slough?
Well, it's a 35-acre lake.
Wow.
That our property goes around, but it's not real deep and not great for swimming. It's really marshy.
Yeah.
But in the wintertime, it was just a skating rink down there. So I'd get home from school and just skate all night. And Mom had the big dinner bell and ring the bell when it was supper time, come up.
That sounds idyllic. Did you have fish in there?
We tried.
What did you throw in?
Didn't take. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Well,
my dad, my dad put some.
Don't say your dad. Somebody.
Yeah,
threw
in. Yeah, I think he threw some. I want to say perch.
Oh, he's a smart man, because I would say I would have thrown perch in there.
Yeah,
because they
pretty
live
sure
in low oxygen, warm water. Yeah,
there's still the little minnows in there, the little stickleback shiners, probably.
Oh yeah,
we've never seen any monsters. But yeah, that was that was the spot to play in the winter, and then in the summer it was just dirt biking, and we had horses, and I always had the dog out there,
cool.
So just out there with the dog all the time. Just at the point now where I got the 4-year-old, you got the grandson.
Yeah,
I'm in town. Does it feel a lot different now from when you're raising your kids to now your grandson? Has the world changed that much, or is it just?
Well, I think I'm still playing the same game. Like when he's home and he comes over quite a bit, he just loves it. We head straight into the bush.
Let's go.
I take him. I was out hunting with him last weekend. We go fishing. We've done winter camping in wicked cold stuff, ice fishing, hiking, shooting slings. Like, this guy's 4 or 5 years old, and he's done more in the bush than a lot of adults, right? And I just think that's really healthy, and he loves it, right? So when I was a kid, we didn't have all the fancy video games. We didn't have smartphones and Netflix, and thank God, because it was like, if I was home, I just knew I had to do chores. So I was like, why would I want to stick around and do chores? It's like, I'm gone. And the world's your oyster. You're having fun out in the bush, doing all sorts of crazy things. And much of this book is sort of those formative growing up, coming of age years. And I was just so enthralled with wilderness survival, bushcraft from a very young age, and wilderness adventures. It's always been who I am. I think I came out of the womb with a pocket knife. You know, I was just ready to go.
And your parents embraced it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, "This is Scott. He's our nature boy." It was almost like a warning to everyone who came over. Like, he might be a little bit weird. He's probably got like some bugs in his pockets and skulls, and he's going to show you his bow and arrow. That's just who he is, right? But that's how I grew up, and that's how everybody knew me, right?
When you were going to school, was it the same sort of thing too?
Yeah, but school is school, so you kind of just have to go through the motions. But I lived for after school and for the weekends, and I lived in the bush literally every waking hour that I could. I'd be in the forest, especially when I was in the Black Forest in Germany, doing survival trips and foraging, edible mushrooms, catching fish with my hands, all sorts of crazy stuff. And that was my life, man.
You talk about like this giant birch tree. I think it was a birch tree that you were hiding your treasures in.
Yeah.
Was that the, like, growing up where you're like always pushing the limits? Like, I got to go extreme here. I got to climb to the highest part of this tree.
Yeah, I know it is. And, if anybody's listening and they like to ski, if you're a black diamond skier, and you go to the slopes, you're not going to play around on the green slopes, right? Yeah. You're going to probably push it. You're going to be on black slopes, and maybe you're going to try some double blacks, and then you're going to go home, and maybe the double blacks were a little out of your league, but that's where you grow. The greatest growth in life happens on the edge. But the edge is an exciting place, and it's also a terribly dangerous place, which is what sometimes you tip over the edge and suddenly you're into a life or death situation or close calls. Obviously, I survived them all because I'm here, but I've got lots of scars, and I learned a lot of things the hard way.
Do you have a memory of like your first life or death experience where you're like, oh, I went too far?
Yeah. I mean, geez, even I think by the time I was 3, I had almost drowned twice. I had we went to Bulgaria, which sounds exotic, but back then it was behind the Iron Curtain in the Cold War. Super cheap vacation, and I slithered under the balcony and was hanging under the balcony, and some people at the hotel saw my skinny legs, and I would have fallen to my death on these multiple floors. So, lots of near-death experiences, even before I was like 4 years old. I drank benzene, which is the same stuff. It's lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Thinking it was some sort of pop. It was in a bottle, so I got rushed to the hospital for that. I got E. coli from drinking water running off the cow paddy fields that were beside
I read that
my house.
One last night.
Yeah, so, I mean, my poor parents, man, like I was... I had 3 sisters who were very well behaved. Then there was me who just kept them on edge because they didn't know what I was into next. Right?
Yeah, what were the sisters doing when you're out doing all this stuff? They're not down with exploration, or
they love the great outdoors, but just in their own way. They weren't pushing the limits like I was. I was out on the edge and they were doing their sisterly things.
Right. I like this book as like a way to, because I think you mentioned in the prologue even, as like you're telling your kids these stories and you're like, I want to get these down so that I can like remember them. Was that something that your kids, like growing up, was like, oh, we got to hear Dad's story about the Black Forest? Was that something like big in their life?
Yeah, for many years, actually, the kids would ask me for a story every night. And so I kept going back to these old childhood stories about wild boars and nearly freezing to death and the dangerous Black Forest and getting hit in the head with a sling rock and all this stuff. And I was like, I should probably write these down for them, because when I'm dead and gone, these memories will go with me. Like, here's a really sobering question for you, George. Do you know the first name of your great-grandfather?
No.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
And I bet just about everybody listening is the same thing.
Yeah.
So you might know your grandfather's first name. Yeah. You're going to know your dad's 100%. First name. But look, it takes 2 generations before you're completely forgotten. Yeah. And life is short. And I thought, no, you got to leave a legacy. I'm going to write this for my kids. And then I was writing it. I thought maybe more people might be interested in these stories as well, because they are quite unique, just the way I grew up. Yeah. I think of my poor great-grandfather fought World War I and World War II on the front lines in France for the German army. The poor guy was drafted twice. It was at gunpoint, like basically you fight or you die. And we know almost nothing about his life. Almost nothing. Lost. Like, what an amazing story had we been able to write those stories down or hear them. Now, he probably wouldn't have wanted to tell them, but he became a prisoner of war in Denmark and escaped. And I thought, I don't want to be like my grandfather and just kind of go into the grave never having shared these experiences with my family and the next generation. So that was a big part of this, was to lay down a bit of a legacy.
What was the hardest part for you writing this book?
The technicalities of publishing. Holy smokes. Like, I've always enjoyed writing, probably because I enjoy storytelling, but the publishing world, man, I am fumbling, bumbling, tripping my way through it, learning about everything. And it's a scary world out there for sure, but so far so good. I've published with Friesen Press. They've been great. Shout out to Friesen Press. Yeah.
You're working on an audiobook?
Yeah, working on an audiobook. Made it on the bestsellers list for Friesen Press after a week, which was pretty slick. People are reading this in Europe, the States, Canada now already. So hopefully the stories strike a chord with folks and they enjoy them.
You got a book launch coming out next month too in Hinton.
Yeah.
At November 12th at the library?
Yeah, that's right. So November 12th, wherever you are, book your flight tickets, fly to Edmonton, drive 3 hours, come here November 12th.
It's worth it.
It's going to be totally worth it. But no, it's going to be more than just get your book signed. I want to make it a fun evening. There's going to be some storytelling. Yeah. I'm going to bring in a bunch of survival bushcraft stuff that people can mix and mingle and pick up baskets and medicinal herbs and a handmade bow, and and then we'll have we'll have a big screen with some fun stories. Yeah. And if you want to get your book signed, that's the place to do it.
I love it. That ties in to our podcast question of the week. Let's go into podcast question of the week, and then we'll tie this into the book a bit too. So the question was, what survival skill would you like to be better at? Nikki wrote in. She said, I want to be able to identify. This was like a regular answer too, by the way. I want to be able to identify mushrooms better so that I can eat while I hike in the fall. Many people wanting to learn foraging. What was your kind of first intake with foraging? I think you even mentioned it in your book where your dad would he's out there eating mushrooms, but he's kind of like just going by, this one's a good one. This one, don't eat this one.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I got to back up a bit, George, because my dad's story is so unique. So Second World War, his dad is off fighting for the Germans for a second time in his lifetime. And my dad's mom is dead. She died years before. So there's 3 brothers. They're, is it 5, 7, and 9, I believe? And my dad's the youngest. So little guy, imagine your little son.
Yeah.
No parents around. These kids run into the bush scrounging for anything
Looking
they can
for something
eat.
to eat.
They're eating mushrooms, stinging nettles, and they'd catch frogs and eat frog legs and whatever they could find. And then they'd scrounge in old abandoned buildings, or they'd dig up old turnips in the ground or potatoes. And they'd be back and forth into the Russian the war camps and to the Allies. They had no clue what was going on with the war. They were just like trying to live.
We're hungry.
Yeah. And so I think I grew up with those stories and figured, well, Grandpa went to war. My dad went to war, was at war. So I'm obviously going to have to go to war. It was the Cold War. We had the Soviet Union was trying to take over the world with communism at the time. And I went to a British military school in northern Germany and saw tanks and fighter jets and men in camouflage on a regular basis. And I thought, well, it's just a matter of time. I'm going to war. We had a bomb shelter in our backyard dug into the side of the hill. So I figured I better get this figured out. I got to learn how to live off the land because it's going to happen, right?
Me too.
So for me, it was a bit of a sense of necessity, and I, from an early age on, really wanted to learn this stuff. And my dad taught me edible mushrooms. We would go in the bush too and collect stinging nettles to eat and other things. He was quite knowledgeable that way. So I learned a lot from him early on. Was
he trained in that? Like, how did he know foraging? Was it just like this is trial and error sort of thing?
Well, he went to what they called children's home, which was a nice way of saying orphanage.
Yeah.
So a lot of the kids ended up in these German orphanages while parents were off fighting or gone. And the leaders of the orphanage would send the kids out to collect mushrooms because they needed food.
Right.
So they taught them what you could pick, and they would string them up with a needle and thread and hang them. Think of a popcorn string that you might have put on a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Same idea. And then you just hang them and dry them out, and then they would eat them in stews and soups. So he learned from a pretty young age which ones he could eat and which ones were poisonous. And the Europeans really love their wild mushrooms, so it's a big deal out there.
Brad wrote into foraging, knowing local vegetation. There's a few of these ones too. Sam wrote in and Esther wrote in bush medicines.
Yeah.
So like finding, solutions in the bush. You got chapters on that in your book?
Absolutely. No, I do a lot, especially for infected wounds.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for anyone listening, you don't need to be a herbologist to start using bush medicines, because at the end of the day, and I might know 50, 75 plants that could do something. I generally go back to about 5 that I use all the time for stuff. So
the wife saw, I think you must have posted this on Instagram or something, but we were out camping and she found some yarrow.
Yes.
And she was like so excited about it. It's like, this is medicine. We could use this.
Oh, yeah. So I did take a herbology course many years ago, and the lady that taught me said, you should start a herbal first aid kit. And I was like, that's brilliant. So instead of running to the pharmacy and buying polysporin and all the stuff you need for your stomach ache and that, you go in the bush, you dry your herbs, you put them in jars, and when you need them, they're there. Or you can make tinctures as well. Tincture is soaked in alcohol, and so then you take a shot of your herb, and it's just a way of getting that medicine internally.
Brad wrote in, my goal is archery hunting by next year.
Sweet.
Corey said he wants to become a better fisherman. Were you fishing too when you were a kid?
Yeah. From a very young age, we had brown trout, had a little creek river running in front of my house. And so, I was fishing from a very young age.
Rel said navigating by the stars.
Mm-hmm.
That's something in your skill set?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The North Star, very, very easy to pick out once you know how to find it off the...
North Star's off the Big Dipper?
Off the Big Dipper, off the front of the pot, the front of the ladle.
Yeah.
Those 2 stars that make the front of that ladle, you draw a straight line up and you'll hit the North Star. Okay. Now, it only works in the Northern Hemisphere, so if you're an Aussie listening, then you've got the Southern Cross, and I'm not well-versed in the Southern Hemisphere, but yeah.
Jeff says he wants to use a bow to start a fire. I know you've been working with that.
Oh, yeah, many years, yeah.
Foraging, another foraging one, bush medicine, probably hunting and trapping. Nathan says he wants to learn how to tie knots and rope better.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor said mushrooms. I want to be able to identify mushrooms, wild food, and also raft building.
Oh, yeah.
So, a lot of people looking, just the amount that came in for foraging was, more than 50%.
Well, it's interesting you say that, George, because I remember foraging used to be sort of a weird fringe thing, and it's become quite mainstream. Like, people are really excited about being able to walk in the forest, know their berries, know the edible nuts that they can eat, edible plants, medicinal mushrooms and edible mushrooms. And good on them, because our ancestors all knew that stuff, and that's how they lived and survived. If they didn't know that knowledge, you wouldn't be here today. None of you listening to this podcast would be here today if your ancestors weren't experts at hunting, gathering, and foraging, and knew their medicinal plants, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have pharmacies and hardware stores and all of that stuff. We had to get everything from the bush.
I was hunting with my dad over the weekend there. We were trying to find an elk, and we found a blueberry patch. Felt like a real forager. Surrounded by bear poop, too. So I'm like, there's going to be a bear kicking around here.
Nice. Do you have a bear tag?
No. Not on the list this fall, but I got my elk tag and trying to get a deer. Just grouse so far, but
yeah.
How has your hunting season went so far?
Yeah, same with me. Just grouse so far. Kids are coming home for Thanksgiving, so we're gonna try to get them some tags. They're in university, and they could really use the deer meat. So we'll see. Hopefully, we can fill a couple tags here.
This was just a question I was thinking last night when I was reading your book. You mentioned like a connection with the animals and like you like in the cow pasture and stuff. Mm-hmm. Might be a tough question, but is there an animal that has taught you the most?
An animal that has taught me the most. I think the one I feel most connected to is probably the white-tailed deer.
Okay.
And the reason is we literally raised our family on white-tailed deer. Like, it's funny because I bump into people that say nobody hunts for meat anymore or to feed their family. I'm like, excuse me. We're a family of 8. We had 6 kids, 4 of those big strapping teenage boys.
Yeah.
And we lived almost exclusively off of game meat, still do. Mostly white-tailed deer. Sometimes we would get moose, elk, bear.
Yeah.
Obviously fish, grouse. But the white-tailed deer raised my family. And they're all super healthy. Yeah. They're lean and mean and fit and
plentiful.
Very athletic. Now I'm talking my kids. Kids are plentiful too. But whitetail is a very healthy meat. Very little parasites in there. Like you can eat whitetail meat medium rare without worrying about tapeworms and such. It's a wonderful animal, and they're so smart. Like, well, you hunt whitetail, you know what I'm talking about. They can hear you from, like
7 kilometers away.
Oh,
it feels
man.
like.
And I know they can smell you from about a half a kilometer away because I've been winded and heard bucks snort in the dark from about 500 yards. So they're so smart, so fast. So you really get a respect for them. And I love them, and I find them to be a beautiful, graceful animal. And yet I hunt them, but every animal we hunt, I say a prayer for, thanking the Creator for what we have to eat, and recognizing where meat comes from. Every hamburger we eat or every chicken wing came from a living critter. So it's good to stay connected to where our food source comes from, right?
Yeah. At what age did you leave Germany to come to Canada?
I was 18.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And the whole family moved in, like mom and dad and everything?
I moved by myself.
How come Canada?
The great wilds, man.
Yeah.
This is the wild frontier. So in Germany, I always knew I was going to come back to Canada. This is where I wanted to make
Your mom
my
talked
career.
about it quite a bit then?
Yeah. And I had been back and forth and got a taste for the freedom that's here. Like in Germany's beautiful, don't get me wrong. The Black Forest is gorgeous, but the population, it's so crowded there compared to Canada. Like Canada is really still the Wild West. And so, I studied fish, wildlife, and recreation management in BC. But I had worked a forestry job in Germany and just knew I wanted to work in the great outdoors. And I think that is a sub-theme in my book as well, is if you love the great outdoors as much as I do, how do you build a career in that? Because think how much of your life is spent at your career.
Oh, yeah.
If you hate your job, by the time you're 65, you've given the best years of your life to that job. So I really wanted to do something I enjoyed, and for me, that was being connected to nature, right?
Did you find a real difference between, so you're working a forestry job in Germany compared to like working in Canada? Like, what's the forestry job in Germany like?
Oh man, I'm so glad you asked. I have a whole chapter devoted to it. It's called Riding My Tree Bicycle to the Sky. So reason is I had to ride what the Germans call a tree bicycle up these giant trees to limb the branches off and almost snap my ankles, but you have to read the story to find out why.
Tree bicycle.
Yeah. So in Germany, foresters are revered more than the mayor in town. Like if you're a forester in Germany, but you're not just in charge of the trees, you're in charge of the wildlife, search and rescue, the recreation management, the hunting and fishing. So it's kind of a very holistic view. And it dates back to the time of the Middle Ages, right, with the king's forest and the king's deer.
Okay.
And the forester was kind of like the guy who looked after it all and made sure he knew what was going on. So even now, if there's like a town festival or a beer fest or Oktoberfest or a parade, you want to see the mayor, but you really want to see the forester. Like the forester's the coolest guy there. So working with the foresters was awesome. We would, after work, we'd go to the Gasthaus, which was a restaurant, and there was it was called a Stammtisch, which is a table reserved for the foresters. And we'd saunter in our work boots, and the waitresses would come running with pints of beer and schnitzel. It was great. It was a great time. So it's very different than in Canada, and it's very holistic. So what I found when I studied forestry in Canada were very much, you're in charge of harvesting trees, and you over there, you're in charge of wildlife, and you over there are in charge of parks and recreation. And whereas in Europe, at least in the parts that I knew, it was very holistic. You're in charge of it all, make sure it's all balanced and running well. It's a different model, man.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like, so when you're working a job like that, was it like, well, I'm working in the Black Forest, I'm a forester in Germany, I'm highly regarded. Were you like, man, should I go to Canada then? Or was Canada always like, I'm heading there?
Yeah, for me, I need rugged wilderness, and the wilder the better, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be in a touristy place full of bus tours and big populations of people. Like for me, the places in the Northern Rockies are wonderful. Places like Wilmore Wilderness, where you can go for days and not see a soul, and There's no bridges, no souvenir shops. I just love that. The fact that it's still wild and rugged. We've got things that can kill you here and eat you. That's what I need. I knew I needed to come to Canada to live that life.
How'd you know about it over there? In Germany, are they talking about Wilmore?
The Germans love Canada. Okay. Like my uncle used to phone me because he's passed away now. He'd phone me at like 3-4 in the morning because he had no clue that we were 9 hours difference. I'd be like, Uncle Ziggy, what what
are you doing?
What the heck are you doing? I got to go to work. He's like, tell me about the Rockies. And he just wanted to hear about the fact that I had seen bears and absolutely enthralled with the idea that we had indigenous people. So he's like, have you ever seen an indigenous person? I'm like, I see them every day. He's like, no way. Like for him, that was the coolest thing that, that we had this sort of Wild West areas. And Germans still love Canada more than anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had, I was reflecting back on, I think Aaron Jones was on an episode quite a while ago, and we were talking like type 3 fun. So like the type of fun that's not fun at the time. It's just like, you're trapped in the river and whatever. Like looking back on it, it's like, okay, but during the moment, it's like, this is the worst time ever. In your book, is there some like type 3 fun where you're like, I never want to do this again?
Right. So, let's look at those definitions again. I think type 1 fun was standard fun. Like you go skiing.
Yeah.
You love it. You go home, kind of forget about it.
Great time. Yeah.
Great time. Type 2 fun. It's hard at the time, but you come back and the memories are fun afterwards. So that might be like rock climbing. Mm-hmm. Maybe you cut your fingers and bang a knee and twist your ankle, but later on you're like, man, I bagged that mountain.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. Type 3 fun is you survive by the skin of your teeth and you never want to do it again. I think a lot of my adventures were in the type 2 and type 3.
Yeah.
And the type 3 make the best stories, but you wouldn't want to live them again. Those are the close calls or near-death experiences. And man, I've had so many. I always say my guardian angel needs a raise. And really, writing this book, I didn't even recognize how many times I came close to death until I started writing these stories down. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've passed up my 9 lives a long time ago. Close calls with wild boars, bears, lightning strikes, severe hypothermia to the point where I'm hallucinating and collapsing, near drownings, rock climbing accidents, been swarmed by hornets, and people might think, well, that's not that serious. Well, actually, if you look it up, it's more serious than bear attacks. More people die. Like if you get stung 100, 150 times, that could be game over.
Ooh, yeah.
Cliff jumping accidents, poisoning while foraging, I've had that, and near deadly bleeding. That's just off the top of my head here. So I'm very fortunate to have made it through all of that stuff. And again, it's not that I was kamikaze or hell-bent or crazy on hurting myself. It's just when you're trying to live life on the edge for days and days and years and years and years, you're going to eventually tip over the edge. And some of that stuff's out of your control. You can't control where lightning's going to strike.
Yeah.
You can't control when you're rock climbing which handhold's going to blow out on you. And you can't control the weather. So some of that stuff in the mountains especially is out of your control.
Is there a point now where you look back and like after writing this book, you're like, oh, I should have put this in there. I should have put this in there. Because you said like this book was, a couple hundred pages.
It would have been 3 times longer.
Yeah.
The original copy. Yeah.
How come you took those stories out? Was it just that the book was too long? Did the publisher say that's enough?
Yeah. Or? The publishers are pretty specific on what sells. In fact, even this book's probably too long. Like if I was in this for the money, I would probably distill this even more. Think of making whiskey.
You're not in this for the money?
No, heck no. I hope to break even, man. We can talk about that, but you know, but I wanted to tell the story. So some of the stuff gets a little philosophical, even spiritual at times, but it was like, no, that's important too. Like I could have just distilled this and told all the exciting and gory and bloody and harrowing bits and had it only 200 pages, but I really wanted it to be a little bit more meat on the bones. So
I like it too, because after every chapter you got lessons learned from the chapter too. Like when you were writing this, was that the thing too you were kind of focused on? I was like, okay, so I did this, but this is what I learned from it to not do it again?
For sure. And I've read different survival books and autobiographies, and sometimes there's a temptation to pretend you're the expert and the know-it-all. And I'm not. And I haven't been. And so, but I have learned stuff the hard way, right? So what doesn't kill you does make you stronger. So every chapter ends with sort of these humble lessons learned the hard way. Like you almost die. Oh, yeah. I learned I shouldn't build my shelter in the hollow of a hole in a lightning storm, this sort of thing.
Don't underestimate the power of hitting water from a high cliff.
Yeah, that's right. So some of this stuff's going to be like, well, obvious, but and others are a little more profound. Some of them are more funny lessons, and some of them are more philosophical. There's a lot. I think a sub theme in here is life is short. I've had friends die. My life at this stage has gone by so fast. I want to tell people, take life by the horns before it's gone, right? I think, what is the phrase? Choose your future before your future chooses you. Like you really have to make the most of life. Dust in the wind, we're gone in a flash. And we're not remembered by the next generation. So if you've got big dreams, and your dreams are to live close to the wilds and be connected to nature, now's the time, man. Don't wait, because life is going to pass you by. And that's kind of a major theme in this whole book.
Do you consider yourself spiritual?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You talked about, because was your dad a pastor?
Yeah.
And your mom was like religious too.
Right.
So was that like a big part of you growing up, like a fair bit of religion in the house?
It was, but like many kids growing up in a household like that, you do challenge your beliefs. So you swallow them when you're a little kid, and then you become a teenager and you're like, wait a second, is this really what I believe? Yeah. And no, I'm definitely a spiritual person. I have a deep faith in God. But I've always found that being in nature brings me closer to a sense of spirituality, right? Like I would prefer to worship, quote unquote, worship outdoors on a hike or on a mountain. And you know that feeling. Everybody knows that feeling. What is that feeling when you've climbed a mountain and you stare up in the sky, or you see stars on a starry night, or the northern lights, or the roar of the ocean, or a waterfall, and something stirs in your spirit? Yeah. That is more than just a evolutionary impulse. There's something, as the saying goes, deep calls to deep. Like there's something calling deep in your spirit as well. And well, now I'm getting spiritual because you asked me. There's a verse that says the heavens declare the glory of God. And I totally believe it. Like sometimes you stare up at the starry night, see that Milky Way, and you're like, oh my goodness, like I'm a speck in the universe. Yeah. Why am I here? There must be a deeper purpose to life, right?
I can't remember if I must have been read it somewhere, but it was about how like the civilizations nowadays, everyone's living in a city and you don't see those stars anymore. You don't see the night. The night sky. And it was like, that was the one thing I always loved when I was living in Edmonton, and I'd come out to my parents' place too. And, like we're just, 11 o'clock at night, let's just go out in the field and look up at the stars. Cause like how you said, it's just like, when you realize where you are in the universe, it kind of takes away some of your problems too. It's like, well, this isn't a problem, like I'm a speck on a speck on a speck on a speck. And it's like the problem I have right now is nothing compared to the universe. And I don't even need this problem. You just get rid of it. It's, I think it's something more people need to do.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I feel bad for people who live in the concrete jungle and they get out and they see the night sky for the first time in their life, like really the night sky. And it just blows their mind that there's, what do they say? There's more stars in the sky than grains of sand on every beach in the world. Isn't that insane? Like,
yeah,
that is mind blowing. Like, pick up a handful of sand and pour it out.
Yeah.
And now multiply that on every beach. And that's the universe we live in. And we're on this tiny little rock called the Earth.
Yeah.
Living our little minuscule lives. Like, it blows your mind.
We went to the planetarium at Jasper Park Lodge last year. It might have been even early this year, like January or something. But you go in there and they take you for have you done the planetarium there?
Oh, I've done planetariums. Yeah.
And they just take you for okay, this is the universe and now we're going to another galaxy and this is the next galaxy inside this galaxy, and you're just like sitting back. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like when you stare in the night sky and you see a speck of light, you think it's a star. Mm-hmm. It may be a whole other galaxy.
Yeah.
With thousands or millions of stars. So, it's mind-blowing.
This book, inspiration for people to get out there. You mentioned it a few times on this podcast, like, hey, now's the time. Like, don't wait for your life to pass you by. What's the recommendation for someone living in a city that, maybe it's not as easy just to pull up stakes and move out into the wilderness?
Yeah, for sure. And I would say nature is never far away if you're looking for it. I've lived in a city before, and think of Edmonton. Look at the beautiful river valley that's there. You don't have to go too far to walk in nature. And I lived in the Vancouver area, and we'd have coyotes in city parks, and big cedar trees, and fish and birds and mushrooms. And so nature can be found even in the city. But I would recommend that folks actually get out to wilderness areas. Go visit your parks. Go visit your national parks, your provincial parks. Get out into wilderness areas. Go hiking, go fishing, go hunting, and get connected to the land. Because if you think of it, through the human existence for thousands of years, that was us. We were connected to that land, and we've become so far removed. But that's not natural. And so people wonder, why am I so depressed? Or why the obesity and why the depression and the anxiety and all of this? And I'm like, because you were never meant to work in a little cubicle staring at a screen, driving a vehicle to your concrete jungle and back again. Like, that is the recipe for depression. And so I think a lot of us would just be a lot happier and more fulfilled if we got out in the forest. Nowadays they talk about nature deficit disorder. Have you heard that term?
No.
Or forest bathing.
Forest bathing, yeah.
Yeah, nature deficit disorder. It's basically like, if you're depressed, get out in nature and give it a go.
Yeah.
Like, go out for a walk and you will feel like a different person. Mm-hmm. There's a whole push nowadays too. It's called rewilding, and it's just connecting people back to what we were as human beings. We are Homo sapiens. We are a species of the planet that was connected to the earth, and so the book really pushes people to embrace a wilderness lifestyle, but there's another term, wilderness nation, that I like even more. It just feels more than just a lifestyle. It's like, what if we could really make a concerted effort to be plugged in to nature? Like, where we get our food, where we recreate, where we find our freedom, where we raise our kids. I think it would make a massive difference to society.
Yeah. Is there a way that you can unplug more? Like that you're thinking of, or like I gotta get away from this, or
always, right? So for me, even on my days off, what do I want to do? I just want to head out in the bush, make a lean-to, light a fire, listen to the sounds of the night, shoot a grouse, cook it over the fire, catch a fish. Like that for me, I just feel so connected. I feel like I'm just grounded in who I should be and what I've always been and what my ancestors were. Like, absolutely.
Was there a favorite chapter you wrote in this book? I was just going through like some of the titles in here. Slaying giants with slings and stones. I like that one.
Yeah. There's so many.
Tickled fish and glowing fungi.
Yeah. Yeah, we can dive into some of those for sure.
I'm excited to read this whole book, and well written too, by the way. Like it feels like it's just you talking, which is like a nice version of a book. Because sometimes you read those books and it feels a little stilted, but this is just like having a conversation with Scott while you're reading it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, and there's 44 chapters, so I'm not too worried about spoilers tonight. If I tell a couple stories, that's great too. There's plenty more. Tickled fish, glowing fungi, that is one of my favorite stories. I think because it typifies a typical weekend that I spent in the Black Forest in Germany growing up with my buddy Corey, and every living day that we could get out, we would get out and try to live off the land. So we went for an extended multi-day trip. We didn't bring any food. The whole premise was, can we forage and survive off the land? So we were fish tickling. Have you ever fish tickled? Do you know how it works? It's amazing. It's actually illegal to catch fish with your hands because it works so well.
What?
Yeah, did you know that? Even in Canadian laws.
Never heard of this.
And so it was something I had heard about, and I experimented with it, and I tickled a lot of fish growing up.
Okay.
I often wouldn't bring fish hooks and line. I would just use my bare hands to tickle fish. So the trick is, and folks, this is poaching. You only do this if your life depends on it. But it actually works really, really well. So if you're in a river or a creek and you see trout or salmon, and they spot you, they will swim under boulders or roots or any shaded area.
Right.
So you wade in and you reach your hand under the rock very slowly, like your hand is moving so slow it's imperceptible, like it's moving just like a centimeter every few seconds. Like very slowly. You can't see anything because your arm's under the rock. And you'll keep pushing your hand open slowly forward, and eventually you will feel the body of the fish. And you can bump them, and they'll bump your fingers and move away, but they won't panic. And my theory is that in the darkness, they're bumping into fish all the time. So they don't fully know what you are. They're not expecting a human hand to be under the rock or the roots.
Yeah.
And what you do is you move your hand and you start slowly stroking the side of that fish, like it'll keep bumping against you until you can feel where its head is.
Mm-hmm. And
then what you do is you have to catch the fish by the gills and the head. If you catch it by the tail, it'll get loose.
Yeah.
Because they're slippery, right?
Yeah.
Slippery as a fish. So you feel that head, and then you suddenly strike like a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
And you have to get your fingers in those gills is the best, and you yank them out of the water, and it works like a dam. Like, it's amazing. Wow. So I fed myself for years in the bush with tickling fish. Yeah. And you can look throughout history. Tickling fish was used all throughout. It's a thing. Yeah.
I feel like I'm never close enough to a fish to be able to tickle it.
It works best in streams and rivers. Like a lake would be tough because it's so big.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But I mean, like, like let's say I'm up the wild hay.
Yeah.
And I see a fish in there. Like, I just feel like as soon as I walk in the water, it's gone.
No, but that's the beauty. Because where is it gone to? It only has so many places to escape. Mm-hmm. So you look at the escape terrain, and it's gone under some sort of shelf in the shadows.
Right.
And guess what? There's probably 5 or 6 fish under there, not just that one. Like you put your arm under and you'll feel multiple fish in there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So yeah, that story, we tickle fish, glowing fungi. So in the middle of the night, we're sleeping on this hill and I wake up to take a leak and the whole ground, the forest is glowing.
Yeah.
Like this eerie green light, and I freaked out. I was like, I'm obviously dreaming. This can't be true. So I wake up my buddy Corey, and he gets up, and we're both freaking out because we had no clue that this bioluminescence was a thing. So like we thought this was fairy magic. Like this was stuff of like, what the hell is going on? The ground was glowing green, and the sides of the trees were glowing, and so we started collecting all these sticks and leaves and made a big pile of glowing stuff, and we're dancing around like a bunch of elves in the night, you know. And then in the morning, all the stuff just looked normal, and later on I discovered it was fungi, microscopic fungi.
Yeah.
On the stuff that created this, what's called bioluminescence, made it glow in the dark. And, you know, in the old days, people thought that magic wands, like they'd see a glowing stick on the ground, that's where you got magic wands from, that sort of thing. You can see why. Like we were completely flabbergasted. Magical. So yeah, that chapter's really fun. We weather a storm, hailstones come down. We catch a bird. How did we get it? Throwing sticks. We built throwing sticks, and we roasted this thrush over the fire. Still one of the best survival meals I ever had in my life. We stalked deer, and it was just sort of this was a typical weekend for me in the Black Forest in Germany. Wild boars screaming at night. Like they shriek. I know it's a terrible description, but they sound like a woman shrieking in the night, like in terror.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, you imagine you're 12, 13 years old and you hear that, like your hair is standing on end.
Scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And they can kill you, right?
Yeah.
So they chased me up a tree before, and I'd go solo camping and they'd be shrieking around me. And yeah, exciting times.
I'm curious about this chapter, the title of this chapter, More Than Just a Forest Freak.
Yeah. More than just a forest freak. So that was a big turning point in my life. So, you know, for a lot of my life, I kind of kept these whole wilderness adventures and survival trips a secret because A, people didn't understand. B, people, you know, would probably think I was just weird or some weird forest freak, some nerd.
Yeah.
So it was like I grew up with this secret life. But in this chapter, I'm out of college. I'm trying to get a job. And for the first time in my life, I have a job where I'm teaching outdoor skills to young people. And I came away from that experience feeling like, hey, wait a second. I'm more than just a forest freak. Like, people were excited to learn foraging and shelter building. And I taught them survival fire building and kids how to build a rainproof shelter in the North Shore Mountains of British Columbia, you know, how to shoot a sling and how to build a bow. And people were just so hungry for it. I was like, you know what? I think I'm onto something here. Like all these skills that I've been doing my whole life in secret are something that people are actually hungry for. And it set me on this whole path of environmental education and interpretation, and finally became a survival instructor through that experience.
Do you have that book in you? Like, would you do a how-to book? A how-to book, yeah.
I've thought about it many times. The challenge is the market now is saturated.
There's a ton of them out there
with survival books. Some of them are way better than others, but I'm like, that niche is very well covered.
Yeah.
You know, I might have some angles that others don't. The one thing I found that I used a lot that most survival instructors completely ignore is hot rocks. And I think we talked about that, but I survived so many cold nights with hot rocks. It's not even funny. So think of a hot water bottle on a cold night.
Yeah.
But in the forest, you put these large rocks in the fire, heat them up, roll them out. You got to spit on them so you don't fry yourself, and then roll them in a sweater or something, and then stuff them in your sleeping bag. If you don't have a sleeping bag, stuff them between your knees and on your chest, and they'll hold their heat for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Even in the snow. I've slept in the snow without a sleeping bag. So I only bring that up because I find most survival instructors don't talk about hot rocks.
Yeah.
Maybe because they don't live and work in cold climates like I have.
I am curious too, because you talked about in the chapter I was reading last night about the stinging nettles.
Yeah.
Which you were. I can't remember how you put it in the book, but it was like you thought of them as the enemy before. You're out like smashing them and stuff because they were giving you blisters and everything. And then your dad was like, "Hey, they're actually like take some scissors and some gloves and we could cook them and then use them as rope." And yeah. Was there anything else that you? I guess I'm not sure how right to say it, but like you initially like, I hate this is not working for me, and then you're like, oh, I can actually use this now. Like this is a tool for me.
I think the stinging nettle was a big eye opener, and man, I must have been only about 6 years old when my dad taught me that lesson. And yeah, I hated stinging nettles because I was running around shorts and t-shirt in Germany and constantly getting stung by these things. And if you've never been stung, it feels like fire, and I'd be hanging my arms and legs in the river.
Oh, yeah.
And then my dad taught me, you can eat them, and they taste good. They're like a nice spinach. And then later I learned how to make rope and fire with them and all of this. So they're a wonderful plant. But it was my first lesson that don't cast judgment on what's out there in the bush. Like even thistles are edible. And you can peel them. A lot of things, by the way, with thorns, they have thorns on them because they're good to eat. Like you can eat a lot of cactus, you can eat thistles and many plants. They're just trying to protect themselves because everything's going to eat them if they don't have thistles. So yeah, there's lots of stuff like that. You learn to make medicines out of certain plants or rope, cordage, or food. Absolutely. I think there's a use for just about every plant out there in the bush once you start studying them.
Yeah. Ticks and poison ivy though, is that
Yeah, that's a fun one. I moved to Saskatchewan for a while and worked in Saskatchewan parks, and I was setting up an orienteering course in the tall grass, and every day coming back from work as a park naturalist or interpreter, I would pull ticks off my body, and we're talking 30, 40, 50. I think my personal best was 57.
Yeah.
So as I'm driving home, I'd be pulling them out of my hair and the back of my neck, and I'd count and throw them out the window. And the story there is I had a journalist, this young lady. She was quite attractive, by the way. I guess I got to throw that in there. And she wanted to follow me on the job as a park naturalist and see what it was like, because this is a weird job. So she followed me all day, and we're teaching grade 6 kids and doing fish biology and all this fun stuff and orienteering program. So she thanked me and drove home in her little red Honda Accord. I pack up and I'm driving home, and I see this red Honda Accord swerving like a drunk driver on the highway, like going back and forth. Like, this is insane. And so the car pulls over. This journalist jumps out and starts ripping off her clothes at the side of the highway and shaking her hair. And I'm like, oh, it's the tick story, because I'm already on like tick number 42, which is a normal for me. And she's freaking out because she's covered in ticks. So I pulled over, and she's like screaming, "You've got to help me." And so there I am pulling ticks off this journalist. And she's standing there in her bra. People are driving by, and I'm picking ticks off her back and her hair. It was, it was a funny experience. So I said, make sure you put this in your article.
Yeah.
This is what naturalists have to deal with.
Exactly.
Day, right?
What's the drug cartel critters?
So I worked in a science center for many years, and finally became the director of programming there.
Yeah.
Because I do love interpretation, and we did a lot of interpretation. And we there's no zoo in Saskatchewan, or at least there wasn't at the time. And so the RCMP would catch drug dealers, and for some reason, drug dealers always needed a big ferocious reptile. I don't know why.
Some kind of exotic one.
Yeah. So they would have like 12-foot pythons or crocodiles, alligators, tegu lizards, every manner of snake and lizard, scorpion. In fact, one had a tiger. The RCMP tried to give me a tiger. I was like, no, can't take the tiger. But we did take a lot of these drug cartel critters.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to care for them, but we learned. And so that chapter's all about dealing with these giant snakes and constrictors. I've been constricted by boas. I've been struck by pythons. And so there's stories in there about, quite a bit of blood. One boa constrictor bit me in the hand, and I can't remember how many teeth they have, but it's well over 100 sharp fish hook-like teeth.
Yeah.
So I was bleeding everywhere, stuck my hand in a welding glove, but I continued to do the education program with the students.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't want the media to get out, and for
nothing to worry about here.
Yeah, nothing to worry about here. And my glove is pooling with blood.
Oh my God.
As I'm teaching these kids. And after the session was done, I ran downstairs, poured peroxide on it, and carried on with my day. So yeah, there's stories like that. Oh, no, we had a really good one. I came to work and my staff said, "Scott, we have a problem." I said, "What's the problem?" And they said, "The python's out of his cage." And our python was over 12 feet long, and like he was like 100 pounds or whatever. He was massive.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, that's not really a problem. We don't open for like another half hour." And they said, "No, we had a camp out with Girl Guides and Brownies last night, and they're still on the exhibit floor with the 12-foot python." I said, "Okay, yeah, we got a problem." So we were running around the exhibit floor, and we found the python, and luckily he hadn't gone too far, but my fear had been that he would be slithering across a sleeping bag of like a little Girl Guide or Brownie, this big 12-foot long snake. So we had some fun stories like that.
I mean, I love that the book's out, Scott. I'm curious now, like, are you in book mode now? So like your next adventure, you're already like, okay, this is a chapter in the next book. Is that how you're feeling now?
I signed, what was hard for me was writing that last chapter. Can't remember the title of it.
The Wilderness Life That Shaped My Soul.
There you go. The Wilderness Life That Shaped My Soul. And that was a hard chapter for me to write, because I'm like, wait a second, does this mean that all my best stories are done? And that felt rather scary to write that chapter, because I'm like, no, I hope I still have a lot more in me, a lot more to live, a lot more adventures. So no, I continue to live this lifestyle until the day I die. I want to be out in the bush experiencing nature. And I really, the aim of this book is not to tell just my stories. I end on the note, life is short. Be the hero of your own adventures. Like, that's really my hope with this, is to light a fire, especially with the new generation, the younger generation, to say, hey, you guys are young. Like, write your own stories. Be the hero of your adventures. These are my stories. You may have way better stories. Good on you. Get out there. Get after it. Life is to be lived. Life is to be enjoyed. And for me, that's a life that's closely connected to nature.
I think, like, I just flipped open to this page. It's just one of those lessons learned too in the book, and that's the same thing. It's like, life is fleeting in the blink of an eye. Everything can change. Cherish each moment and friendship as it comes. For the memories you make today are the treasures you carry with you tomorrow. Soak in the beauty of every experience before it's gone, never to return.
Yeah,
it's a good way to live a life.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot in this book too, that happiness is to be shared.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name. Remember he went to was it Yukon or Alaska and tried to live off the land and ended up dying eating the wrong plant. They made a movie out of his life, and his journal, his last entry was happiness is to be shared. And it was a very profound way for this young man to die. And I felt the same things, like, which is why I write these books and why I think we do this podcast, George, why I do the Instagram. Like, yeah, I can have these fun adventures in the middle of nowhere, but it's so much more fun to share them with others and to share that joy with others. And in fact, to have people with me when I'm doing them. The old iron sharpens iron. When you go out there in the bush with somebody else, your experiences are that much better.
Radically Wild, in stores, available online. November 12th, going to be doing your book launch in Hinton here.
Yeah. I should interject there. If people want to buy it, it's almost everywhere now. It's on Ingram and Sparks. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle. It's on Google. What is it?
The Friesen Press website.
Friesen Press. Yeah. The cheapest price is still Friesen Press.
Yeah.
I apologize, folks. I know the Canada Post has been on strike, so the ordering costs, the shipping costs are very high. I have no control on that. And in fact, I only get a couple dollars from every book sold, so it's not like I'm getting rich off of this. This is more a project of passion for me, just to get it out there, and hopefully people enjoy it.
It's a nice looking book too. I got the hardcover, and like it was 5 days I think since I ordered it and it showed up. So
sweet.
Yeah, it's I got to get you to sign this book too, Scott.
I definitely will.
Yeah, November 12th too. Book launch at the library in Hinton here. I'm sure we'll be touching on a lot more stories as the podcast goes on and we dig into. We got such a list of guests coming up here. It's I'm excited for the next few episodes of the podcast. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'll just end with the old phrase, be the hero of your own adventures, folks. Like, we love that you're listening to this stuff. Obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you also love the great outdoors, and life is to be lived. That's the central message. Get out there, get after it, and build your own adventures.
I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on myself right now too and say, when you're listening to this podcast, go to wildernesswave.com and you'll be able to get the book too.
There you
the
go.
Link will be there. So
yeah.
Now I got to do that in the next 3 days. I got the site pretty much ready though. So
fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Scott. And if you want to get a hold of us, wildernesswave.com. Go there. Until next week, stay wild.
Wilderness Wavelength.